warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a very warm welcome and a very good evening to our brothers and sisters here. May peace, mercy and blessings of our cherisher, our creator, God Almighty be upon all of us. First of all, I would like to thank the working committee of PMIUSM as well as IPSI, the Islamic Propagation Society International, for successfully organizing this session tonight in USM, which is the hub of knowledge, which is where humanity comes together, all races and religions, under one roof to seek knowledge, learn and spread knowledge. Because we all go through a cycle of life, from younghood right till the end of life when we face death. And death will surely come to each and every one who is alive. No one is spared from death. And this is why we are gathered here today. Because there are so many questions that remain unanswered in the scientific committee of the world. We've got many organizations in the Western world. Because the beauty about our Asian culture is, now I'm a medical profession by nature. I'm an oncologist, which means I'm a cancer specialist. So I see death every day. So when you see death every day, you ponder and you think, this person that's dying today, he lived his whole life to become a doctor, to become a PhD, to become a Dato or Dato Sri, and in the end he will die anyway. Whether it's in my hands or other people's hands, and he will return to the creator of life. We all believe, including those who don't believe in the creator, do believe that we would go somewhere, because we came from somewhere. That is why scientists in Europe have developed a special, super expensive machine just to find out how matter started. Matter means, in Malay, jisim, the weight. We are made up of matter. We all have weight because we are built up of atoms. That is how scientists realize that, oh, water carries how much weight, iron carries how much weight. So the scientists are pondering, how did matter come into existence? How did we come into existence from one Big Bang, the Big Bang theory? So they realize there's a Big Bang, but they still don't understand how matter came into evolution. This is why we are here today, to then ponder, learn from each other, to realize that the rainbow is beautiful because of 7 colors. Now if rainbow only has one color, would the rainbow be beautiful? The humanity race is like a rainbow. There are some of us who are yellow, brown, white, and many other colors if you go and do plastic surgeries. But the truth is, we all came from a creator that we call him by various names. We still refer to him as the creator, as the cherisher of sustenance, as the giver of life, and who gives death. But we have a short period of time in this world. None of us know when we are going to leave this world. If we all knew our time is up, one night before we would just pray 24 hours. And before that we will do what we want. So there is a reason behind why we are created. Why do we have intellect? Why do we have a soul? Why are we created in 2 entities, a soul and a body? Because the body is left behind. You see, when you see death, then you realize about the creation of life. When you're alive, you take things for granted. When you're alive, you think you're healthy. But the 2 things that you will always miss is when you don't have time and when you don't have health. Because money can't buy time and money can't buy health. So we all think about First of all, how were we created? Number two, what about our journey in life? Why is it some of us have to go through so difficult lives, and some of us are born rich and go through very easy life? The moment we are 17, we drive a Bentley. Some of us, 17, we only ride a bicycle. We don't know. Do we say life is fair? What about the miracles, the scientific miracles of the creation of our body itself, where 1 centimeter of tissue is equivalent to 10 million cells. So you can just imagine 1 centimeter of your skin has 10 million cells. So can you ever see 1 million cell? And within 1 million cell, you are made up of 46 chromosomes, and each chromosome has billions of genes. And every gene will decide whether you are brown or black or white. You are tall or short. You are fair or dark. You got a long nose or short nose. I have to talk about nose because everybody talks about my nose. And then the question, what about death? What really happens? Nobody has ever come back and told us a story. Hey, I went to death, and I came back and this is what happened. So it's a question that remains unanswerable. And what happens after death? Do we go somewhere? Like here, if you commit a sin or you commit a crime, you get punished if you get caught. Will we ever get caught after death? Is a good guy the same as a bad guy? So at the end of the day, we are all one race. This is where the concept of, we're talking about regional here. We are, in the whole world we are one race. The white is not superior to the black. In fact, the black has a lot of advantages over the white. If you look at the African nations, they run fast, they're tall, they're energetic, and they don't have many diseases. Whereas the white man gets skin cancers. So there are advantages and disadvantages. And why were we created with different cultures and race and religions? Something that we have to ponder. So the reason why we get together is so that we can clear misconception. We all have misconception of other religions. None of us is spared. Some of you have an idea of what Christianity is all about. Some of you have an idea of what Islam is all about. But we have these ideas from the media which could be skewed to protect certain parties' self-interest. That is where the responsibility falls on you. You have the ability to seek knowledge on your own rather than relying on someone else. If I were to tell you, listen, you go and drink this milk and this milk will keep you alive till 100 years. Are you going to say, oh yeah, Dr. Amir told me to drink that milk? It could be a cow milk or donkey's milk. Are you going to believe me and say yes? No, you're going to research. You're going to check, is that true? That's why you have brains and you have intellect. And the 3 concepts that bring us together is love. We love each other. We want peace. We don't want fighting. And we want to live in harmony, meaning that the colors that represent us make us bright and we are proud of each other. We are proud of each other's race because we are all human beings. So we hope that after this session tonight, the prejudice that you come with, the thoughts that you come with, thinking about someone else's religion would be cleared to some extent. And we would realize that at the end of the day, even the scientists give up and say, we are not God. We believe there is the Creator. But they just don't know what to name. This is where today we are searching for the Creator. We fight because we think the Creator is ours. We think, oh no, the Creator is only mine, man, He's not your Creator. Actually, He created every one of us. So do not be biased towards other cultures and religions. No one is perfect. With this, I would like to thank all of you, and we hope that we will take this forward and gain knowledge and share. Knowledge is to be shared. What you've learned today, we hope that you will pass around to those who are not present today, and henceforth. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah. نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. My respected panelists, our guests, and brothers and sisters. So we are here to hear a talk entitled "The Purpose of Life," which are going to be delivered by three of our panelists here. I shall read their profile. From Islam, we have here Tuan Haji Kamarudin bin Abdullah. Do you recognize him? Please raise your hand, please, Tuan Haji. Okay. So his brief, brief biodata. Please bear with me. I'm going to read his biodata. Name: Tuan Haji Kamarudin bin Abdullah. Background of study: diploma in Pengajian Islam from Academic Islam Malaysia. Occupation: President of the International Islamic Dissemination of Islamic Propagation Society International (IPSI). Vast experience. He studied from various Islamic scholars such as Ustaz Al-Hafiz Sheikh Abdul Hamid from Pakistan, Al-Mahrum Sheikh Ahmad Didat, and Sheikh Rafiq Hassan from Africa Selatan, Dr. Abu Aminah Bila Philip from Qatar, Dr. Fadil Sulaiman from Mesir, and from Dr. Daniel Zainal from Penang. He is given commission by religious department in Penang to deliver lectures and teach religion. And he's an advisory of apostasy cases and new problems to Jabatan Agama Islam Penang. And from Hinduism, we have here Dr. M.Bala Tharmalingam, please. Okay. His background of study: he's a medical graduate from Bangalore, India. Masters in Healthcare Administration, USA. Currently pursuing PhD in Health Education, UK. Now he's the Chief Executive Officer at Universal Skills Academy. Experience of knowledge: President of Malaysia Hindu Sangam, the national body for Hindu affairs in Malaysia. National Exco member for Inter-Religious Council. Deputy President of Korporasi Hindu Sangam Malaysia, well-known nationwide speaker in Hinduism and inter-religious Interfaith Dialogue sessions, well-known speaker on Indian and Hindu entrepreneurship development, undertaken research in comparative theology for inter-religious harmony, and so on. Okay. And from Christianity, our representative, Mr. Phye. Okay. Background of study: law degree from Universiti of Malaya, graduated in 1986. Master in laws also from Universiti Malaya. He's a lawyer. Experience of knowledge: a church elder of Petalinjai Gospel Hall in Selangor, a member of the National Evangelical Christian Fellowship, chairman of Fellowship of Evangelical Students, a society that supports tertiary student Christian groups. Okay. Each panel will be given 25 minutes to deliver his presentation. Kindly please not to touch upon sensitive and current issues, and then stick to the topic, the purpose of life. And without further ado, the floor would like to invite the first panel or speaker, Mr. Phye, to deliver his talk.
Thank you. I thought I was the second speaker because that's what the program says, but good evening everyone. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share from my faith about the purpose of life. I always believe in such dialogues because I'm very concerned about nation building, about what kind of Malaysia I want for my children and their children and their children and so on. And I realized that coming from a beautiful country where we share different faiths and cultures to understand each other better, not just to tolerate. I think tolerance is not the word, toleration is not the word, it's acceptance. And I ask for acceptance from my fellow brothers and sisters in Malaysia, and I will do the same. It doesn't mean that I agree with you, it means that I agree to disagree, but yet I can accept you and we can live in this country together as God, our Creator, want us to be. So coming to this topic, I think it is a wonderful topic. It cuts right down to why we believe what we believe. Some of us believe because we were born into a situation. I was born into a Christian family. So I believed, as our project director shared, sometimes we are born into a situation and we grow up with what is told to us, but at some point of time we question. At some point of time we say, do I believe in this because I want to believe in this or because I was conditioned to believe in this? So I went through that process even though I was born in a Christian family. And you know, for my children, I also want them to choose Christianity, but not because their father or their mother are Christians, but because they choose God as told in the Christian faith. I don't want their faith to be manufactured. I want them to own their own faith, and not because someone told them it's the right thing to believe in. So for me, when I grew up and I questioned myself and I asked myself, are the tenets of the Christian faith on this important question true? Why do I say it's true? Being a lawyer helped me to even question further, and that questioning hasn't stopped. But I believe I've come to a point of faith. Not that I have seen God, or any of us will see God for the time being while on earth, but I see with the eyes of faith, and all of us have this. But that doesn't mean we put our brains in one corner of the room. When we listen to someone giving a sermon, it means that I have a reasonable faith, a faith that can be reasoned. So when I went through my own journey in understanding the purpose of life, I came to these conclusions, and I'm sharing these conclusions with you, which reflects the Christian faith. Westminster is a lovely church in London. It's an official church, so to speak, and they provide teaching. And you know, we have what we call the catechism, where you ask a question and then the answer comes in the articles of faith. So I thought this was how the question, I guess this is Old English, so this was how the question was asked in those days. Now we ask, what is the purpose of life? But in those days, I guess in Old English, they would say, what is the chief end of man? And the congregation will reply, to glorify God and enjoy Him forever. AKA, what is the purpose of life? Yeah. And I think this is what I want to begin with, and that is the Christian understanding of the purpose of life. Certainly, I take what Dr. Amar has said, that we are beyond E is equals to mc squared. Our universe is not just defined by that kind of equation, because behind matter, or beyond physics, there is a metaphysics that explains life. Science only tells us how things work. It does not tell us why they work and why we are here. I believe this question actually has three sub-questions. Philosophers, it's a great subject. I only studied a branch of philosophy relating to law, so we call it jurisprudence. But I love philosophy because it makes us think in a structured, logical manner, and then have a paradigm that helps us understand life. Sometimes we call that a worldview. How do I explain the world? How do I explain a bus that goes off a ravine? Either because the driver was angry, or because someone didn't check the brakes, or because someone who who was the regulator, was bribed and did not stop the bus from being on the road. How does it happen? Why does it happen? Why do 10,000 people die in a typhoon? Did God cause that typhoon to happen? Therefore, He caused that 10,000 people to die a horrible death, and more will be dying if aid does not reach Philippines in time. So we ask these questions for a while, then we retreat to our regular life. Hopefully not an existence, but a life. To get beyond that, I think we ask ourselves these three questions, which to me explains the purpose of life. Or breaking down that bigger question. Who am I? Why am I here? Where am I going? Makes sense to me. That's how I would want to answer that question of the purpose of life. So, I love Calvin and Hobbes. He's a comic character, you know. Calvin, that little boy who walks around with his stuffed toy tiger, whom he calls Hobbes. That comic is so full of wisdom and yet so funny, and I have a 14-year-old son, and he enjoys reading. Not many 14-year-olds enjoy reading, but he loves this comic. And so Calvin, and you know Hobbes, the two names, the author of this comic character, actually, those both names comes from philosophers. John Calvin was a famous Christian theologian, and John Hobbes was a famous philosopher. I believe he was not a Christian. So he called his characters Calvin and Hobbes. So Calvin talks to his tiger as if the tiger was alive. You know the story, right? And so they walk through a clearing. They walk through a little forest in the autumn leaves. Now it's autumn time. And then they come to a clearing after walking some distance. And Calvin, in one of his, he's only a 5-year-old, 6-year-old boy, yeah? But he sometimes gets into philosophical questions. So he turns to his tiger friend and asks, "Why are we here?" So the tiger Hobbes answers. You see, what happens in this Q&A is it's a philosophical question, but the answers are existential. Yeah, that's the term we use. So Calvin asks, "Why are we here?" Of course, he's not asking why are we here in this clearing. But of course, Hobbes says, because we walked here. Then the second question, no, I mean, why are we here on Earth? Then Hobbes says, because Earth can support life. Very scientific. We are here because Earth can support life. Surely that's not the question, but okay. So now Calvin is getting frustrated. No, I mean, why do we exist? And then Hobbes says, because we were born. Another biological answer to that question on the meaning of life. So Calvin then ends by this. I hope one day you can find the comic. It's actually a comic strip with this discussion, this conversation. You know what? Let's just forget it. And Hobbes says, I will. I wish we won't forget it. I wish this session today is not just a learning experience, but a spiritual one for you, whether from your religion or from learning from other religions. And you can maybe leave the whole, how do I say this, with a bit more meaning to our life than what we do day in and day out. So, I asked the first question, who am I? I now begin the answer from a Christian standpoint. Who am I is an identity question. I think it all starts with our identity. If we just describe ourselves biologically, then we say we're a mess of cells, whether MASS or MESS, depending on the shape of your anatomy. Okay, so we are a mess of cells. Then it's a biological question. I'm not asking a biological question. I'm asking, who am I really? And so what we believe the Bible says, and these are conclusions from various verses in the Bible which I quote here. The beginning, we call it Genesis. And when God made man and woman, He said, let us make man in our image. Now that word has challenged theologians down centuries. Those words were written something like 3,000 years ago when the story of creation was handed down. And that word image is pretty awesome. You know, I said this before in the other dialogues. When my My first child is a daughter, so when she was born, and I carried her in my arms, and I would sing her song to sleep, and I would say this is the most beautiful baby in the world, but I'm biased. And then I would say, if anything, I would give my life for this baby. I hope all of you would always have that experience in your life one day, if you haven't had it yet. And I would ask myself, why would I do that? It's because I see myself in her. I was responsible for her coming into the world, at least half lah. Of course, my wife did the main job. She will never let me forget that. But I was fortunate enough to be witnessing the actual delivery in the delivery room, because the obstetrician was our friend from Universiti Malaysia, and he come and he even let me cut the umbilical cord. But my wife went through the whole process. So, why is she someone that I would give my life for? Because there's something of me in her. The word we use in the Bible is image. I'm not saying I'm God, or we are God, but something of Him. That's why He would do everything to show us His love, His grace, His favor. I would call even the relationship father and child. Christians say the Lord's Prayer. Our Father who is in heaven, holy is your name, your kingdom come, your will be done. We say this. We don't say it by routine or just mere words. We say it because we mean every word. And Jesus taught us to pray. And the words we said was, our Father in heaven. Now, we may have different experiences of our earthly fathers. And sometimes we have to cover the gaps. But to have my heavenly, perfect Father who cares for me and brought me into this world because He loves me, gives me my identity. I am not first a lawyer. That may be earning me good money, but I don't want to define myself as I'm a lawyer. I want to say that I'm a child of God. And that's important to me, and that gives me an understanding of my purpose in life. Why am I here? Here on earth, created by God to do His will and to love Him back. If father and child is the defining relationship of my identity, then the point is to love Him. A love relationship that is mutual. And so, because I love God, and that's because He first loved me, then my purpose in life is to find the meaning of all that I do, all that I want to be. Why did I choose to be a lawyer? I went to my Father in heaven. I said, God, I actually prayed this prayer. God, you made me with certain skills, certain personality, certain temperament. You gave me a background. You made sure I had what I have. So what do you think I should do career-wise with my life? I asked Him. It's not that He sends me an SMS with an answer. If only life was so simple. It would be nice sometimes you get worried about how to make wise decisions. Very much spiritual wisdom sometimes, not just human wisdom. But He answered me. And He said, well, I guess you have those things that are suitable for lawyering. And you should consider, maybe that's the way to go. And I did that. And He's guided me since in my journey being a lawyer. So when Jesus was asked why He walked this earth, and there were various people who wanted to trap Him, who wanted to find wrong things He would say, He was asked this, what is the greatest commandment? And He answered, to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Not that we break up ourselves to heart, soul, mind, and strength, but you could use each of this as an emphasis of the human persona. Heart, my will, center of my will. The soul, my emotion. The mind, my intellect. The strength, all that I have physically resourced in me. That means all I am and all I have. I love Him. I love God. And then secondly, to love your neighbor as yourself. I must share with you my own personal journey that I've come to a point in life where loving my neighbor means loving Malaysia. Loving Malaysia because it's a country that God doesn't do things by accident. I'm not accidentally born in Malaysia. He decided that I will be born a Malaysian. And then he's told me, and he tells me, let's make Malaysia what it should be like. What I would want it to be. A place of peace, prosperity, harmony, happiness for all living together. And so loving neighbor has become very important to me in terms of loving my nation. I told my kids, Papa may have the money to send you overseas, but one condition. You come back. And don't join the chorus of those who would say, try to get out. I send you overseas, try to get a job there and then come back. And I said, no, this is your home. Again, God did not accidentally decide that you'd be born in Malaysia. I don't know if they listen to me. Together with that, I also say, make sure you don't find an American boyfriend or something. Then definitely you won't come back. Yeah, but that's the point. That's the point, loving our neighbor. And to put him in the proper place in our lives, the center of our lives. Why am I here? Love God. But we have a choice. You know, I understand, you know, choice. I cannot say that I have love and no choice. If I have no choice but to love you, it's not love. You get the inconsistency, the inherent inconsistency. Yeah? If I program you to love me, it's not love. You know, so if love has a choice, then I can choose not to love. So why am I here? To love God. But there can be evil. Evil is what is against God's will. In a rough, simplified definition. Evil exists. It doesn't mean that God created evil. Evil is not creatable. But there can be a choice. And if the choice is against what God intended, then it's evil. The Bible calls it sin. Displacing God from His proper place in our lives. The Bible explains what happened in the garden. It's not a mythical little Red Riding Hood story. It's real. There was a garden. Adam and Eve, our original template for man and woman, they made a choice not to love God. God said, don't do this. And they thought, why can't I? Why must God be in control? And sin entered the world. So Adam and Eve chose that path. They were banished from the garden, the biblical story says. You can read it in Genesis 1-3. Some of us also choose this path. And then the world suffers from the consequence. What is sin? Telling God, I love you when I feel like. I'll do what you want me to do when it's convenient for me. And only if it's consistent with my ambitions and what I want out of life. Then maybe I will choose to do things your way. That is sin. And we suffer from that consequence. 5 minutes. Cool. I can do this in 5 minutes. I'm the last question, man. Okay, so when sin enters the world and we choose the path of sin, you know the stories. Sin is never an isolated act. It's not that you do something wrong and only you suffer. No. Psychologists tell us many who are gay come from homes with an absent father figure. There's much more to discuss about that. We are all sometimes the effect of someone else's sin. C.S. Lewis, an Oxford professor, says this: sin is man telling God, go away, leave me alone. And hell is God telling man, you will have your wish. Because hell is the final place where you are fully alienated from God. You may be wicked and evil man now, but you still feel God's presence and His grace and His favor. when we choose the path to come back to God, we find we have a predicament. We have guilt in our lives. We have the power of sin. I don't know how many of us can express this. The good that I want to do, I cannot do. And the bad that I don't want to do is what I do. Why is there sin in me? To us, the Bible and Christianity is a rescue story. It is God saying, I can help you find your way back to that relationship with me. But your sin has to be dealt with. And so we talk about what Jesus Christ did. So the purpose of life, to get back to God again, requires a path that links Jesus into our lives. And that is based on why He came, who is He, and what He did. So I end here. I'm very close to my last 2 minutes or 1 minute. What is the purpose of life? To live for God, enjoy Him forever. To love God and love others. It is not an intellectual discussion we're having here. These are real life questions. Men's search for the purpose of life. And we all must make those choices. And the choice we make will have its consequences. Thank you very much.
Many thanks to Mr. Chiu. Now the floor would like to invite Dr. M.Bala, Tharmalingam, to present his talk on the purpose of life.
Good evening to our moderator, Prof, and our panelists, and also all the brothers and sisters here. Let me give through a small brief understanding about Hinduism before I could explain about the concept of purpose of life. Basically, Hinduism based on the scriptures called Vedas, which is one of the oldest scriptures in the world, almost more than 10,000 years. Hinduism believes in one God, contrary to popular belief, because non-Hindus think that Hindus believe in many gods, but in proper Vedas it actually says truth is one, paths are many, otherwise ekam sat vipara bahuda vadanti. It's the third largest religion in the world. And the Vedas is basically directly came from God, revealed to the sages, and is collected as 4 Vedas known as the Rig Veda, Sama Veda, Yajur Veda, and Atharva Veda. And also there are many other scriptures which is more of came from the sages as interpretation, something like Ramayana, Mahabharata, Puranas, and so on. As I said, Hinduism also believe in only one God. Only the difference is how we define God. It is actually defined in 2 dimensions. It's called Nirguna Brahman, which is transcendental or impersonal, which got no form, no name. The other one is called Sarguna Brahman, is become personal, immanent, which have forms and names. In the transcendent aspect, the supreme reality is called Nirguna Brahman, and you cannot express by any name, any form, any attribute to it. It's not object of prayer. It's more of realizing it. It cannot be described. It's absolute existence, absolute knowledge, absolute bliss. It is unborn, self-existent, all-pervading, immeasurable, unapproachable, beyond conception, beyond birth, beyond reasoning, beyond thought. In fact, it cannot be defined. Veda says, if a man can define with words and say that is God, that becomes definitely not God. So it's beyond definition. Otherwise, something which is beyond definition, beyond human comprehension, that comes where in a form of a Sarguna Brahman, which is the personal aspect, which is have a name and form, and mainly because of for the understanding of human being of the attributes of God. It can be many forms, sometimes look like male form, sometimes look like female form, even sometimes look like animal form and so on. So that makes non-Hindus think that Hindus believe in many gods including animals. But actually Hinduism is a religion of symbolism. Because God has many attributes. He is the creator, He is the beginner, He is the protector, He is the everlasting wealth, He is the profound knowledge, enormous wisdom, so on. So all these attributes can be represented by a symbol in Hinduism, therefore sometimes we call it as a religion of symbolism. We see all this in Hindu worship. Actually they are attributes. For example, the sound Om is the sound, first sound, is the beginner, Ganesha, is the creator, Brahma, is the protector, Vishnu, is the destructor, Rudra, is the eternal being, Shiva, is the ultimate power, Shakti, is the everlasting wealth, Lakshmi, is profound knowledge, Saraswati, is enormous wisdom, Muruga, and so on. So, when his attributes are given a name and form, it appears to be a many God, but it is simplistically say that it's one God. To our human understanding, to become personal, we give a name and form for his attribute. Well said in one of the verses, Oru namam oru uruvam illarukku aayiram thirunamam na padaithu, meaning is a God which have no name, no form, and beyond our imagination and definition. For our own benefit, we have name and form for him. So there is only one God, the Brahman, but we all have souls, and each and everybody have the Atmans. But the Atmans are, why can't near to God? Because we bonded, we stuck with our ignorance, number one. We stuck with our karmic cycle of life in this universe, and also we stuck to this material world, which is called Maya. So basically, the ignorance is the root cause of all. It never allows us to realize the truth, the God, the righteous way. The Maya, the other way, is the material, the universe. Whether it is in atom form, molecule form, or any form, or even in energy form, the entire universe is considered as Maya. Basically, why do God give us this body, or this universe, or this world? For us for the Atma to get his consciousness through his brain and mind, and get rid of his ignorance, and finally can reach God. That is called moksha in Hinduism. So in Hinduism, we believe in the soul cannot get his full knowledge, wisdom, and to reach God in one's life cycle. It needs many life cycles. But the only thing is, it doesn't only stick to this world, because we don't know how many worlds are there or how many earths are there in this universe. And when we born here, live here, and we're going to die, that doesn't mean that that's the end of it. We have to be reborn somewhere in the universe, and we have to get our life done again. Finally, get rid of again, as I said, the bonds of our ignorance, and get rid of this matter and this karmic cycle, such a way that one day we can reach God. So basically, the ultimate aim of life in Hinduism is the liberation of the Atmans from the engulfing bonds and finally unison with God. So I put it in a very symbolic way or in a diagrammatic way. God is something beyond, but Atma are bonded by this ignorant Anava, karmic cycle, the cycle of rebirth, cause and effect, and the material, Maya. So a soul has to get rid of these three bonds and finally can be unison with God. That is called moksha. In Hindu concept, everyone has soul or Atma, and that is one is exactly who we are, not the body. The body is basically a matter, a part and parcel of the world, the universe, which is inert, which is no wisdom, no consciousness, but the soul has. When a soul enters into the body, accordingly you get its consciousness. Something like electricity, get into different appliances, it gives a different type of application. Similarly, the soul, when it gets into a body, it gets its identity. But we have to, the ultimate aim, as I said, we have to get rid of this cosmic ignorance, cosmic consciousness, cosmic matter or energy, and we have to pass through the time-space duality, and through our gunas, we call it our attribute, manly attribute, sattva, rajas, tamas, slowly we identify our divinity in it. Basically, every soul is divine in Hinduism, because regardless of whether it's a geographic or a religion or a gender, color, since Atma is inherently pure and divine, every human being is potentially divine also. In Hindu view, man is not born of sinner, but because of victim of his ignorance, under the influence of cosmic ignorance called Anava, just as darkness quickly disappears upon appearance of light, an individual's ignorance vanishes when he gains his self-knowledge, wisdom. Science has revealed that we call matter is essentially energy. Hindu sages tell us that the cosmic energy is manifestation of the universal spirit of Brahman. Brahman has become all things and being in the world. Thus we all interconnected in subtle ways. All is one and one is in all. In Hindu system, what is most important is called Dharma, the righteous way to live, which is given in the Vedas for a human being to live in a proper way. And also to understand the law of karma, where everybody is responsible for their own deeds. These two, dharmic way of living and understanding the karma is become the fundamental of a person's life in this world. Basically, dharma is very important in Hinduism because it means privilege, duties, obligation of a person, a standard conduct as a member of the community or even as a person. It laid down rules, ordinance for all action in all situations, and is always steering away from absolutes, always sensitive to context. The laws allow qualification, of course, for time, place, and exceptional circumstances also. The thought of dharma generates deep confidence in the Hindu mind in cosmic justice. This is reflected in a often quoted maxim like, the righteous side will have the victory, the truth only prevails, not the falsehood. Dharma kills if it is killed, dharma protects if it is protected. Basically, the entire world rests on dharma. Dharma is a law that maintains the cosmic order as well as the individual and social order. Dharma sustains human life in the harmony of nature. When we follow dharma, we are in conformity with the law that sustains the universe. Basically, dharma makes us evolve, makes us understand what is morality, what is ethic, what is individual responsibility, what is social responsibility. how to respect the law of the land, how to respect our profession, how to respect every soul, how to respect non-violence to any soul. It gives us an independent responsibility and slowly become family responsibility, slowly become a society responsibility, and evolve further and further until we realize the final aim of life, that is to reach God. The otherwise law of karma is also important in Hinduism, because God who is loving and merciful does not punish or reward anyone. He molds our destinies based upon our own thoughts and deeds. Every action of a person in thought, word or a deed brings result either good or bad, depending upon moral equality of the action. As we say it sometimes, as you sow, so shall you reap. Moral consequence of all actions conserved by nature. It also encompasses action, causality and destiny. It is a moral equivalence of law of conservation of energy, or the law of physics, which says for every action there is equal and opposite reaction. Each person is responsible for their good and bad deeds, which is reap appropriate result either in this or future lives. So it gives a tremendous responsibility to the individual, places his hand in his future or a current destiny. So basically, for understanding the Dharma and live in this world and slowly get our maturity, Hinduism identifies 4 stages. The first stage is called Brahmacharya stages, or Kallaram in Tamil. Second stage is called Grahastha stage, Illaram in Tamil. Vanaprastha is the third stage, Nallaram in Tamil. And finally is Sannyasa, the 4th stage, otherwise in Tamil is known as Salaram. Basically, it's a self-development at the initial, slowly develop into family development, and also understand the importance of community development. And of course, finally, the ultimate is spiritual development. So, a gradual progress, a human mind and knowledge, wisdom towards self, family, community, and finally the spiritual. So in that, the 4 objective of life is to maintain to uphold the Dharma, that is the virtues or righteousness. Of course, in this world we have to live with our own career, our own assets. We call it as artha, almost same sound as harta in Malay. Prosperity, wealth, fame, career development, so on. But we also here to enjoy this world. We are not here to just suffer in this world. So, the only thing is we must know that our artha or karma, it must be in accordance to the Dharma. That means we must acquire our artha or our pleasure or happiness only with the good Dharma, dharmic way. And finally, of course, the final objective, the ultimate objective is get rid of cycle of rebirth and finally be oneness with God, or moksha. For that, in Buddhism we identify about 4 ways. Sometimes these 4 ways look like a contradiction to each other, but it is connected to each other. The first one is called as a Sariya or Karma Marga. Second one is Kriya or Bhakti Marga. Third one is Yoga or Yoga Marga. And finally is Jnana. Basically it is, first one is Karma Marga. Only even in this Marga, a Hindu, even it doesn't go to temple, doesn't pray, doesn't matter. What is most important is whether he is living a righteous living. He is understand his responsibility, individual responsibility, social responsibility, family responsibility, and he never harm anyone in his life. So, if someone live like that, we call it he is in a karma marga or sariye, where he is still in the path of God. Whereas this next is called kriya, bhakti marga, is more towards of surrender to God, or lot of rituals, lot of devotion, which is mostly practiced in the temples. So all the ritual practices have meaning in it. So that is how a Hindu go to the temple and is fulfill his Bhakti Marga principles of prayers and so on. The other third one is called Yoga Marga, where a man has to realize God not externally but only within himself. Because the soul, the Atma, the origin is from God. So he can only realize God through his soul, not through his external. So from the process of meditation, he will realize, he will start communicate, he will concentrate, focus. He doesn't need an object for it. He only start realize the Nirguna Brahma, and finally he will get his self-realization. And of course, there is also another marga called Jnana Marga, which is a path of sagacity, path of knowledge and wisdom, where we can continuously in search of knowledge. Everything is knowledge. Science is basically nothing but understanding what is the beauty of God. We say we discovered something. We are not actually discovered, means we are actually creating something. We are only coming to knowing about the greatness of the creation, how complex it is and how intelligent in it. So the fourth marga is give importance to that. So basically in Hinduism, the religion is way to understand, practice how to realize God. It's concerned with all of the relation existing between God and human being and between human and themselves, because the central significance of God. Hinduism, meanwhile, believe in there is no one religion that teaches an exclusive way to salvation. All genuine spiritual paths are valid. All great religions are equally true. That means for Hindus, all brothers and sisters of any other faith are basically our fellow human being. Because most important is we believe in God, and that one God is the one create all of us, including you and me. So as long as you follow a proper system, proper belief system, and you live a righteous way. So for Hindu concern, whatever race, whatever religion you are following, you are still a brother and sister to a Hindu. So in whatever way human love me, in the same way they find my love. Various are the ways for humans, but in the end they all come to me, says Bhagavad Gita. Hindus believe that wisdom is not exclusive possession of any particular race or religion. Hinduism therefore provides everyone with absolute freedom of thought in righteous matters. One is free to approach God in his own way, without conforming to any dogma or blind faith. An open mind is all that necessary to understand Hinduism. Hindus place greatest value on experiencing truth personally. Another important concept of purpose of life is don't harm anybody in this world. Ahimsa. No violence, no injury, non-killing. 5 minutes. Sure. Sometimes this ahimsa concept is the one give importance or a reverence to cows and bulls. Basically, they are part and parcel of, especially the Hindus in India, where they depend on it from the beginning, from the millennium, where they depend from the start, from milk. They have to depend on the bulls for their transportation, plantation, and so on. So they given a very significant importance and reference to cows such a way. That's why Hindus usually don't eat beef. At the same time, another misconception about Hinduism which I like to clarify is about caste system, where majority of non-Hindus believe that Hindus have caste system. Actually, this caste system is nothing but job classification. There are 4 types of job classification. One is intellectual type of job classification. Second one is called force and use of power for a job. Third one is a business class, and fourth one is use the skill and semi-skill. So through that is one created the Brahma, the intellectual type of job, Brahmin, The Kshatriya is more of like all this Air Force or any police force and all that force type of administration and so on type of a job. Third one is a business type of Vaishya is a business type of job, and Sutra means formula, so it's a skill and semi-skill based on a particular formulas. So that's how it came as a job classification. Later, people have misinterpreted as born as a different caste. Basically, I put it in summary. Hindu believe in one all-pervasive supreme being who is both immanent and transcendental. Is the creator, is the absolute reality, exists as a Nirguna Brahman. But the entire universe undergoes an endless cycle of creation, preservation and dissolution under the universal governance of that one and all-pervasive super being. I believe that one absolute God as Sarguna Brahman have many attributes, manifest in many names and forms. Temple worship and ritual, sacrament as well as personal devotion create a communion with God. I believe in the divinity of Vedas and Agamas, the scriptures, which is the most ancient scriptures, as a revelation from God Himself. And these are the bedrock of the Sanatana Dharma, or the righteous way to live in this world. I believe in Dharma, that is essential principle of life from Vedas that guide me as my personal discipline, good contact, purification, pilgrimage, self-inquiry, self-inquiry and meditation, and also finally to know the absolute truth. I believe also the karma, the law of cause and effect, which each individual creates his own destiny by his thought and words and deeds. I believe that every soul is undergo multiple cycles of rebirth, evolving through many births until all his karma is resolved, finally liberation from the cycle of rebirth and moksha shakti, that is union with God. Not a single soul will be eternally deprived of this destiny. I believe that all life is sacred, to be loved, to be revered, and therefore practice ahimsa, that is non-injury to all. Finally, I believe that no particular religion teaches the only way to salvation above all others, but all genuine religious paths are facets of God's pure love and light, deserving tolerance and understanding. So, with that conclusion, I believe that this kind of dialogues, especially interfaith dialogues, throw us an opportunity to understand others' religion and also clear our mind of certain misconception of other religion, and also we can celebrate the common values that exist in all religion, and to live as a human being finally, and also finally to reach Him one day, as what the all religion is also aimed for. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. M.Bala. So before the floor invite our third panelist, I would like to say Assalamualaikum. Saya tengok semua khusyuk, tawaduk. Terlalu faham sampai dia dengan kursi ni sama parah. Sikit lagi, sahabat-sahabat. Dia nak cakap ni kena cakap terus guna bahasa ibunda bahawa dia ke lubuk hati terus. Bangun kan, bangun. Gosok gigi. Okay. So, without further ado, our third and final panelist, the floor invites Tuan Haji.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. A very good evening to all my brothers and sisters, the moderator, respected Dr. Azizan, our distinguished panelists, Mr. Chu and Dr. Bala, the distinguished guest, Encik Anwar Ibrahim from HEPUSM, dear scholars, brothers and sisters, a very good day to you, and I'm bringing to you the very crucial subject of our life, which I've been asking when I was 19 years old. Today I'm 45, and the question has been answered, but still my heart is 19. The question that I ask, brothers and sisters, why do I exist? Why do God create human beings and other beings? Why should I feel pain, happy, pleasures, and what after that? And what will happen to me after that? I dream to go to school. Next, I dream to university. Next, I want to get married. Next, I want to get children. Next, I want to have a good job. Next, I want to have a house and two. And next, I want to have see a grandchildren. And then what's next? Next is graveyard. So in other words, brothers and sisters, life in this world does not promise you something permanent. We are asked, what is the purpose of our eyes? What is the purpose of our ears? What is the purpose of our mouth and tongues? And our heart that pumps, what is all this purpose for? Brothers and sisters, ask yourself tonight, why are you here? You came with certain purpose, aren't you? Whether you're a believer or not, you came with a purpose. The very chair that you're sitting now has its purpose, so that you can sit and listen to me. And if you were to sit 10 hours on the chair would not question you why you sit on me 10 hours. Let me see this video, 3 minutes. Hopefully it works. Hopefully it works.
What are we doing here? And where are we gonna go? It's like we just woke up one morning and then it's welcome to the show. Don't ask any questions, just go with the flow. Make as much money as you can and try your best not to get broke. Copy everything you see on the TV, from the hairstyles to the clothes, and don't think too often, just do exactly as you're told. And if you ever get confused, then just turn towards the alcohol. You'll still hear your thoughts, then just turn up the radio as you learn to live a lifestyle of drugs, sex, and rock and roll. But in all honesty, I just need to know, is there more to the cycle than growing and getting old? Living and dying just to leave behind a happy home and a whole lot of property that somebody else is going to own. I just really need to know before the casket's closed, 'cause I'm not willing to gamble with my soul, nor am I ready to take any chances. These are just simple life questions and I'm just searching for some answers. Like, what are we doing here? And what is our purpose? How did we get here and who made us so perfect? And what happens once we go, or is this world all really worth it? Questions we don't answer because apparently we don't really have to. There's no purpose to this life and our existence is merely natural. Then in that case, please let me ask you, did you create yourself or was it somebody else who had fashioned you? 'Cause you're a being that's impeccable, faultless and unparalleled. You're a product of supreme intelligence and I'm merely being rational. For there isn't a camera on this earth that can come close to the human eye, nor a computer that can compete alongside the human mind. And if the whole world was to come together, we wouldn't be able to create a single fly. So many signs, yet we still deny. As science tries to justify that all this could come from none, when it's a simple sum, 0 plus 0 plus 0 cannot possibly ever give you 1. So from where did all this order come? But everything has its origins, a maker, a creator of its own. I mean, the only reason you're watching this video is because somebody had to press upload. So we can believe in the Big Bang, but I'd rather believe in He who caused it to explode. Allah, the creator.
There we go. That's our purpose. There's a manual, brothers and sisters, God revealed time to time to His messenger. As we have our manual for our new car, we have our manual for our new computer, and of course, we have a new manual for our new wife. For the entire life that is complex and comprehensive, why don't you think there is not a map, there's a guide? If you were to travel from Malaysia to America, you need a guidebook, don't you? So life is so complex, so you need a guide. And that manual is revealed to the last messenger of God, Muhammad, the Quran. In the Quran, chapter 2, verse 30, Allah, before create mankind, He already said to the angels, behold, the Lord said to the angels, I will create a white children on the earth. And Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the last messenger of God, also did mention that the world is green and beautiful, that God has created the governors, and that's you and me, to govern the world according to His will. Man and woman, and her soul created pure, without any corruption, without any contamination of sin. Brothers and sisters, the Prophet said, no child is born except that is upon natural instinct, al-fitrah, recognizing the Creator. Allah further mentioned in Surah Al-Zariyat, chapter 51, verse 56, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ, and I did not create the jinn and mankind except to worship me. You've been wondering, what is worship in Islam? It means all action that are performed for the sake of serving our Creator and His pleasure. That is called worship. By the way, kissing your wife is considered worship. So go back home and kiss a lot. And Allah again expand the meaning of I did not create jinn and man except to worship me. He said, Kul inna salati wa nusuki wa mahyaya wa mamati lillahi rabbil alamin. Say, truly my prayer, my service of sacrifice, my life and my death are for Allah, the cherisher of the worlds. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, Allah revealed this beautiful verse for us to contemplate, ponder, think. Don't take things for granted. And Allah says in the Quran, chapter 3, verse 190 and 191, behold, in the creation of the heavens and the earth, the alternation of night and day are indeed signs for men of understanding. Who are they? Who remember God while standing, sitting, and lying, and contemplating, looking into themselves, looking out, and they find, and you know what they say? Allahu Akbar. Well, you know what they say? They say, Rabbana ma khalaqta haza batila subhanaka fakina azab an-nar. Oh Lord, not for vain, not for sport, that you created us and the entire world. Save us from the hellfire. Amen. And of course, Allah also revealed in chapter 67, verse 2, that He created death and life, that He may try you, which is the best indeed, is a test. Before you accept your proposal from a man, what will you do? You test him, don't you? You don't just blindly accept him from the Facebook, right? Right. And the reality of this world, very temporarily, and Allah mentioned in chapter 18, verse 7, indeed we have made that which is on the earth endowment for which we may test them. Gold, big house, car. And also, we also used to boast. The world, in the other narration, Allah said, this is a world that you live, is a game, is a place that you boast. I got 11 sons, future Malaysia football team. Now my son, one is in USM, one is in UPM. And one son is doctor, one son is engineer. Nobody boasts, my son is pious. That is the criteria. Allah don't want to see what you're holding, but Allah wants to see your righteous conduct. No doubt, be clever, be smart, but do not forget that we belong to Allah and we will return back to Allah. And more tests. And Allah surely, and Allah mentioned in the Quran, chapter 2, verse 155, and Allah says, we will surely test you, O mankind, with something of fear, hunger, loss, and wealth, and life and food. But give glad tidings to those who have patience. By the way, we live in the world, not in the heaven. So we will go through all this and give glad tidings to those who have patience. And Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the last messenger of God, he says, amazing, the life of a believer. Anything good happens to him, he will be grateful. Anything bad and harm happens to him, he still will be smiling and will be grateful. Why? He believed that he came from God and surely he will return back to God. And Allah, in chapter 29, verse 2, Allah mentioned, two people think they will be left to say we believe in God. Will not they be tried? So ladies and gentlemen, we will be tested, and the test is not going to be the same. Brothers and sisters, those who want to be doctor like Dr. Amir Shah, he have to go through many tests, different tests. And an engineer have to go through a different test. Can a kindergarten student can be an oncology doctor? Nah. He have to go stages by stages, and he have to spend time 5 years in Ireland, England, and become a doctor. So life, stages by stages, there's a test of life so that we will be matured enough to understand the wisdom and the secret of life. Am I right? Why everybody is so silent? Smile. I will make you laugh, don't worry. La yukallifullahu nafsan. Allah says in the Quran chapter 2, verse 286, Allah does not charge a soul as of what is within its capacity. Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he mentioned, the life of this world compared to the hereafter is just a drop of water from the last finger that drip into the ocean, and you see what you bring out. That is the value of life. And the life of the hereafter, akhirah, the heaven or the hellfire, is the permanent life. And Allah says in the Quran, "Bal tusiruna al-hayat dunya." You chase after this world is short, but the life of the hereafter is going to be everlasting. Brothers and sisters, beautiful, good news now, good news. Man jaa bi hasanatin. Whoever comes on the day of judgment with one good deed will have 10 times like thereof. And whoever comes with the evil deed, they will not be recompensed except like thereof, and they will be not wrong. A smile, brother, smile is charity. And you now get 10. So easy. And it's easy to enter paradise. Those who are sinners, they have never thought about God. Now listen to these beautiful verses from the Quran, chapter 39, verse 53. Say, O my servants who have transgressed their soul, do not despair the mercy of Allah. Indeed, Allah forgives all sins. He is always forgiving and merciful, and He loves to forgive you, brothers and sisters. Now, that's the job there. Huh? You see this fish? That's the biggest animal. You call it whale. Am I right? 190 tons. 190,000 kilograms with 32 long meters. And this is in her stomach. You can put NASA flight. You can put in a tank. You can put inside elephant. You can put your bus collar inside her stomach. Now, I'm challenging you now. I believe you are the heaviest that you are now is maybe 80 kilograms. I offer you 500 ringgit. Go to USM swimming pool, jump and come out like this fish. If you can do so, please, please. Can you do so? Ask a question. The largest animal on the face of the earth, for the density, she climbs, she raised herself 45 meters. The heaviest animal in the density water, she's coming out, and you're 80 kilograms, you can't. Why? Why? Ask. Remember the words that I read to you? Inna fi khalqis samawati wal ard. Indeed, in the creation of the heavens and the earth, the alternation of night and day are signs for men of understanding. Look, contemplate, see, you will get your answer, purpose of life. Now, God has created everything on His system, balance. Allah says in the Quran, do not they look at the camels, how will they make? Can you put a giraffe in the desert? Can you put zebra in the desert? She would die. Now, how this Allah says in the Quran, "Do you not see the camels, how it was made? And they can live in the desert with the hottest of 50 degrees Celsius, and they can survive without food and water for 2 weeks. And you learned people tell me, the most that human beings survive without water is 3 days. I cannot survive without water 1 hour. That's why I drink. So, what I'm trying to show with you, this animal, the camel is not created for Malaysia. It's created in the hottest desert. Why? Why so balanced, brothers and sisters? And Allah mentioned why. Soon we will show mankind our signs in the farthest region of the earth and their soul, until it become manifest to them that is the truth, the Quran. Is not enough that Dialog do witness all things? Brothers and sisters, Allah is the one true God that we believe is the God for all. And Allah have His attribute. Brothers and sisters, if you have term and condition to enter this university, if you have the term and condition for me to do the Interfaith Dialogue, if you have term and condition to get your loan from the bank, don't you think Allah, the creator of the universe, doesn't have term and condition for you? Who created you from nothing? Do you think you can worship anything you like? No! Worship the true God. And he mentioned when they asked him about Allah, Man hu Allah, who is God? And the revelation came down. Kul, say, Kul hu Allahu ahad. Say, Allah is one and only. Allahu samad. Allah the eternal absolute. Lam yalid wa lam yulad. He begot, not always begotten. Wa lam yakun lahu kufuwan ahad. There's none like unto him. With this, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to finalize with a question. He has, God Almighty, Allah, has created all that around us for our sake. Moon, sun, fish, birds, everything around us are created for us. To whom should we serve, brothers and sisters, other than no, but Allah, the one true God. I pray and I leave you. May Allah guide me and guide you to the straight path. Once again, thank you very much.